you today with such special guests today. But I would like to know, how are you doing these days? How you doing? How you doing, Emilce? How you doing, Juan Camilo?
Very good. Thank you very much, Carlos, Maria Paz, Emilce, for the invitation. And well, we are working and moving ahead in the middle of all these challenges and circumstances. But thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you, Carlos. I'm doing very well. And thank you to Juan Camilo for attending this invitation. We know that your agenda is full, and we really appreciate this time with us. Thank you.
It's a pleasure for me.
Maria Paz, how you doing?
Very well, thank you. Making our best to make this Facebook Live possible.
Okay. So if you remember, there was a first meeting, a first program that we had with our principal, Juan Camilo Montoya. We had it a couple of semesters ago for the first visit.
A year and a half ago.
Yeah, and it was very interesting. Many people sent us some messages and some questions ahead from the program. So this is the second part of the program, and it's going to be an interesting program because now we're going to talk about different things that is about reality, but they were not like some of the topics from the previous program. Okay, so it is time to ask you the first question of the show today is, how different is the university from this first semester of the 2020 from the second semester of the 2020? I know we are doing very well as university. I know we have progressed a lot, and I know we have made a lot of investment in order to make the programs and all the faculties go ahead. But I would like to know from you guys, who are the very first line there, what differences are there between the first semester and the second semester this year?
Well, it's been a very challenging year in general, and I think that the key differences between the two semesters are, well, in the first one, in mid-March, we had the huge disruption and the huge change in all the normal way of doing things at the university, and we had to move very quickly into the remote teaching experience, and it was more or less like a speed race of how we can maintain the semester going ahead, and in between we were all in our personal lives making adjustments and learning how to work and be in a quarantine, which was also a very strange experience for all of us. So that was like the first key difference between the two semesters, the initial shock that we faced. And then very quickly, as a community with professors, students, the administrative team, we were on a very intense mode of producing solutions and understanding the challenges in different aspects of the university. What were the key challenges on the academic side, on the financial side, understanding what the government and the authorities were deciding on the next steps for higher education, communicating as quickly as we could with the community, informing the decisions, and then the making the move into the second semester. Well, we have learned very quickly in many aspects of our university. I think that we've done a great job improving our remote and online teaching and solutions, and that's a huge step for our university, and we have to thank a lot all the professors of our university for that big effort that they have done. And the key issue then on the mid part of the year was also providing solutions and being very close to all of our students and trying to help them out to continue into this next semester with financial solutions, with all the options that we designed for them. And in general, we did a pretty good job on that. So then this semester, now we are on the opposite side, that we started remote, we started from home, and now we are in the process of how to come back to the campus. And that's a comeback that is gonna take some time, but we want to move forward in that as quickly as we can, but also as safely as we can. So two semesters with different challenges in between of the whole pandemic situation, but overall making as a community, as UNAB community, a huge effort. And I want to thank you all of us of what we have done.
And I know that students are feeling grateful for that effort that this university has been made, and I'm sure they are giving the best too. I'm asking you that because many students feel grateful for that situation that they are living and the support that they are feeling from the university. You know, we teach different courses and we ask students questions before the class in order to support them and stuff. And they mentioned that in many classes that have been there, they have the need, the necessity to mention that they feel grateful for all the effort. And I think it's very important to be mentioned.
That's very good to hear, and we will continue on that effort on improving quality and understanding the circumstances that everybody has been living, which they've been challenging for all of us. But overall, moving ahead and looking with optimism what is the coming months and years, because that the possibility of getting somehow paralyzed or overwhelmed by the situation, well, is not a good option. And so we have to keep moving ahead with the best attitude possible between all the circumstances.
Just keep walking.
Yes.
And Dr. Juan Camilo, how have you lived in the pandemic? How have you managed your time to do your job, which is very demanding, but also support your children with their school duties, for example?
Yeah, well, the first 2 months, two months and a half, we spent that time at our parents-in-law house, which is a house outside, kind of outside the city, near Piedecuesta. And it was a good space to be there for a very long time without any movement outside. The kids, they did pretty well adapting into the remote format. The little one, he was more distracted at the beginning, but then he got the routine, and he was more focused on the tasks. And then so those first 8 or 9 weeks were a very confined routine. And then as we were moving ahead, looking on how could we open the campus for the practice component on June, well, then we moved back to our apartment, and I started moving more outside home into the campus and trying to move ahead with all those decisions and solutions. So very clear to try to maintain the work routine, the same kind of hours that we spend in normal routines at the office, and then respecting also the space for family time and for distraction and resting, and also it has been important to look for time early in the morning, especially to exercise. That has been something that with my normal schedule I've not been as disciplined as I wanted to, but now during the pandemic, I think I've improved in having a more stable routine for exercise, which I think is fundamental in these times. We cannot remain at home just sitting down or around our bedroom, and we have to try and get some fresh air and exercise. So in general, we're doing fine. Thank you very much, and I hope that all of you also are good and safe, and of course all our students and community.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And talking about learning and teaching, we know that it has been a challenge and a big change to move from a face-to-face education to a remote one and a virtual one. I think that Colombia, and not only Colombia, but a lot of countries in Latin America were not completely prepared to move suddenly from one mode to another one. We have learned a lot of things, of course, and I think that students too. I mean, they have to change their habits, to rearrange their schedules, to be more attentive to everything, responsible, etc. And it is not only for the higher education students, it has been for all the levels, from kindergarten, primary, secondary, high school, etc., etc. So, Doctor, do you think that it's important, the face-to-face education, now that we can have a comparison, or we can contrast? Although we have been living during the last 6 months in this remote way and virtual one, do you think it's important, the face-to-face education?
Absolutely. I think that, well, this pandemic has disrupted higher education and education in general all around the world. One very interesting thing of this time that we've lived is how all the world, or almost all the world, has had the same problem at the same time.
Yes.
It's not that our country is facing, or any country is facing, a war or a environmental disaster or whatever. It's just in this time, everybody is kind of on the same page, on the same moment, and that has been very interesting. And I might say that in general, universities are all around the world, the most renowned universities in Europe or the United States, all of them they have faced challenges in moving into a full remote and online environment. But the face-to-face interaction is necessary. I think that into the future, naturally, we have to build and to operate in a mixed environment, combining pure online hybrid classes with these remote solutions and digital solutions, and of course coming into campus and exchanging and living with the social interaction, which is very important. And we have, well, there are some activities and some that are very necessary to do, being on the same place. And also a very important part of being in a university and being in a higher education program is the experience that you live in a campus of any university. There are a lot of things that are part of the learning process, that are part of the growing process of any individual, on what you face in very spontaneous encounters and moments in any university, and of course at UNAB. So it's a combination of learning. In the learning part, we have more options right now: face-to-face, remote, online. All the practical component of our programs is also, but we have to build again the life on our campus as soon as we can, not to come to a full normality that we had before, because these solutions, certainly we have to be stronger and better using them over time. But necessarily is going to be important to come back. Also for the administrative team of the university, we also have to build a new way of using our time in order to be productive. We can spend some time at home and doing some part of the job, but other parts of our job, which is providing services to students and also looking out that the professors are on the best conditions possible. That's something that we have to do here at the campus. Actually, well, I'm working from my office right now.
So innovation 100% in all the aspects, administrative, in the learning process, with the students too. Well, it's gonna be a good way to learn things. Our life.
Of course.
With teleclasses and stuff.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
One thing that I would like to ask, these days, time travel is a very famous topic, We got Back to the Future movies, we have Dark, Netflix series and stuff. If you were a student again and you came from the past today, what would you miss the most?
If
you were a student today
and living and operating in this way,
in this pandemic situation, what would you miss the most? Especially in classes, so where interaction is so needed and it's a prior concept, like for example, well, here in the program we move in order to make the students learn the language. So obviously we talk about learning the language,
Yeah.
What would you miss the most?
Well, the social setting and the being with the group of friends and of our courses, of our semester around the campus. I mean, in the university life, what happens in the slots of time that we have without classes, hanging out in the campus, those are very important moments of the university life. Either to play some sport, either to just be reading around, laying on the ground, or sitting at the cafeteria. So it's a lot of the spontaneous interaction that takes place at any moment in a campus, attending a conference that there's happening somewhere in any auditorium. Yes. So that's part of the experience that I would miss a lot in a moment like this, and we know that our students are missing that, and we understand them absolutely 100%, and that's the reason also that we have to come back safely and gradually. Actually, we started this week again doing several courses with the practical component here at different labs and practical spaces. So it will be very important to recover as soon as we can.
And that's a curious and a nice answer, because last show, Carlos and I were talking about that exactly, that students are missing a lot social contact.
Of course, yes. We are social beings. We are social beings, and that interaction is what makes the social skills. I would miss, if I can answer that question as a professor or as a professional in my role as a teacher. I'm going to be right now taking the role of a teacher. I will miss, for example, the communicative skills, because we already know that the communicative skills is one of the goals or one of the skills for the future. It is mentioned in one of the 6 ones, the oral and written skills. And the communication skills is given in an interaction, when I can talk with a person in a real situation, following a function given by an exercise etc., etc. Another one that I will miss will be that skill that is very natural in our job of teaching languages, which is the speaking. Because the speaking, the only way to, I think that the only way up to now, we don't know that now with the artificial intelligence that in 10 or 20 years, the situation could be different. But right now, for me, the speaking skill, the only way to improve it is face to face. I mean, we can have online courses that give us some exercises to improve pronunciation, which is different. Pronunciation is one of the parts of the skill itself, but the skill itself demands more than that. It's in the class when I have my peer, is when I have followed or when I follow one of the situations given by the professor when the speaking takes life. And it's something that in jobs or in interviews, people take attention on that. It's in the way you communicate. So the communication is skill for the future. The speaking skill, and another thing in our profession of teaching any language, not only English, but Spanish, German, any language, is one of the language levels, which is the pragmatic level. We have 3 language levels when we teach a language, which is the linguistic, semantic, and pragmatic. And the last one is given in a face-to-face environment. So, of course, thank the Lord, in our university, we have been working hard combining the face-to-face and the all AI tools that we have before the pandemic, and now with the pandemic more, we have been working and we have been using those AI tools because they support and they give us all that support we need to improve all these skills. But as a social means, everything that has to be with social, it has to be face to face. Students enjoy more when they have their friends, their mates, their peers, as they want to call it, the classmates, interacting. And the interaction is born since the professor established a situation, no? It's in life, no? Social, we are social beings, and of course, that is something that we are not going to be doing in a different way up to now. That is something that I will miss the most from my side of a teacher of any language, not only English.
Yeah, and the students mentioned that, students, when you are in class, they say, teacher, what a pity that we are here. But thanks to the university, we have this possibility to have you here to make groups and stuff. He said, but I can't wait, teacher, to go into the classroom. I used to think, we're going to university, better just keep the class today. But now they say, teacher, I can't wait to go to the class and see all my classmates. And then you give out that small paper and go with the paper and ask that friend and take the answer and then socialize. They are aware of the situation, but that's the sentence, teacher, I can't wait to see you again and to see my friends and to have a paper in my hand. That is something that is globally missed, to have a paper and with that paper do something which relates to interaction. And that is something that the students, they appreciate a lot. They appreciate a lot.
Yeah, but then we have to remain strong. We have to remain calm in this situation, which was very, very big and it was overwhelming to all of us in many ways. Now we've moved ahead into 6 months of dealing with all this situation, and first we have to be clear that this will go away as a general situation. It will continue to fade down and we will continue moving forward. Something that I've told the directive, well, the executive team of the university, the deans, and many people is, let's focus on what we can control. Let's focus on what we have on hand. Let's not get paralyzed thinking of many huge and far away topics that we cannot control, we cannot do anything about them. Let's focus here with what we have on hand, the decisions that we can make here at the university. And that same piece of advice, let's say, I would share with the audience, with our students, with all of you, and let's continue focus on what we can control. If the tools that we have are a way to continue learning, let's focus on that learning experience. And then also, it's an opportunity as a big economic crisis that we have now, in a big challenge of reinventing a lot of businesses and activities. Well, as future professionals in many disciplines, how can we engage and how can we contribute to small parts of bigger solutions, of bigger topics, but ask ourselves on what can I do in our environment, in our context, near context. So after the initial shock, after we have been able to manage all this situation, now we are in the process of getting out of it, on working in improving the economy and the situation in our general community. So I would like finally to invite all our UNAB community to be on a very strong mentality and an optimistic mentality, looking into the future, which will not be easy, but we are able and capable of doing fine and being a strong community into the following years.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think we are going to win this battle very soon. Well, according to numbers, we are winning the battle. And
yeah, and it's a natural process. The epidemiologists, they have told us how those curves behave, and yeah, we have learned how to take care of ourselves, to follow the protocols, and with that we will be able to continue moving and regaining more liberty and more ways of coming back to seeing with each other, etc. So it's a process. We cannot lose our mind and our temper. We have to remain calm and strong.
yeah, that's a good final message. Keep in control what we can have control of. I mean, stop thinking on things that they are not in our hands. Like, if I am going to see numbers going up or going down, it's not in our hands. We have to take care of ourselves and give the best, And I'm sure that students and professors, and we are grateful for all the support received from the university, for all the strategies, the change from meet to teams. That was something amazing, also good, especially from the point of view of some sort of interaction that we want with that. And that is something that is to appreciate, and to say thank you for the support. And obviously, if you have any final message, all of you guys, Maria Paz, Emilce, Juan Camilo, a final message for the students about learning the language. What final suggestion do we have in these times of learning the language in this particular way?
Please, Emilce, Maria Paz, and I'll maybe go last.
Well, my message is keep on learning, dear students. Now we have a lot of tools to support our remote classes. English is a door, but we need a key to open that door too.
Excellent.
And maybe that key is go attend the classes, do the exercises. Learning a language is, we can compare it as when you go to the gym, You are not going to lose weight in the first day or in the first hour doing exercise at the gym. It is a process. It needs organization. Follow your professor's instructions. Do your best. Keep on reaching and thinking high because you can do it. We are trying to educate in professionals with all the tools to be successful in the world. And English is one of, I mean, I think it's the first one. In the skills for the 21st century is in number 7, but right now we have been saying that it's the first one. You are communicating in English with your peers. When we have the opportunity to share courses or to share whatever you want to, the best way is in English because it's the international one, the international language. It's not difficult. It's just if you want, you can do it. Try it and do it. That is my main advice.
Thank you
And
very much.
before finishing, I would like to say, on behalf of the language department, Dr. Juan Camilo, I would like to say thank you very much for your leadership. Because in these difficult times, you have been very calm, but also you have acted immediately. I think thinking about the best for all of us. Thank you for your positive view and all the motivation. We can see and we can feel through the messages and everything.
Yeah.
I really thank you very much. We are very thankful for the way you have been managed this situation, especially this year.
Thank you
Thank
very
you
much.
very much, Emilce.
Maria Paz, any recommendation as a kind of student age? We can hear you.
My message is simple and short as a kind of a student age. Keep learning and keep doing our best.
Short and powerful.
Yeah.
And
Well, I will say that having English speaking and writing skills, it's about having access and having access to many opportunities and in a way of being connected to the world. That's the language in which all the world meets. So it's a key tool for professional development. It's a key tool for being engaged and connected with many type of persons and networks and literature and I mean so it's kind of a basic tool and be sure as a student that you will be a much more stronger professional if you have good English skills. You don't have to be native speaking. You don't have to have a perfect pronunciation. You will continue learning and reading and improving on a day-to-day basis. But in general, being comfortable, engaging and making your best on communicating in English, that will give you a lot of opportunities and good moments.
thank you very much. That's excellent. That was a great program. And as you know, guys out there from Facebook Live and the podcast, English is the key that opens all the doors in the world. And communicating in English is make it a lot easier. So I can tell the students out there and the people and the teachers that we are going to continue giving our best in this situation in order to make the teaching and the learning the language something even more grateful every single day. And I'm sure we're going to be back soon to our classrooms, to those small papers, to have those role plays.
Great.
Thank you very much for being here. It was an honor to be here. I know you
Thank
have
you.
very tight agendas, so I really appreciate your the opportunity to have it here.
No, for me, it's a pleasure, and I appreciate very much all these activities that you do from the language department to promote more English environment, in international environment. That's very important for our university. So anytime I'm happy to be with you and in this type of programs or any other activities. Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye to all the people down there.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
You too.
Hey, are you listening to Unab on Air right now? If not, what are you waiting for?
A new program has arrived on UnabRadio.com to live the English language.
Are you listening to Unab on Air right now?
Unab on Air will bring you news, interviews, and the best music for your Thursday afternoon. Join us at UnabRadio.com and enjoy the Unab on Air experience. News, interviews, and the best music for your Thursday afternoon.